What's up, you guys? It's Jamie here, bringing you a nice update on your Saturday morning for those Friday night games. So if you're enjoying these, please hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. I'm going to jump straight into the Rabbitohs and the Bulldogs game. And there weren't too many shining lights in this one. The big one was Damien Cook there with a nice 80 score again. And what I'm really noticing with him in his scores this year is when he's playing those lesser teams, who obviously had the Manly side, and then we had the Bulldogs, that he's got out of dummy half a little bit more. And made a few more, obviously a couple of line breaks, but getting more runs, getting more run meters, and doing really well, and getting a few try assists there like he did on the weekend, and then actually got a bit of an early mark with 65 minutes played only, and missed out on a chance of getting up near 100. So that's where we're at with Cook, and I think that's going to be his type of scoring, and he now sits at pretty much his average as to what he was priced at the start of the year. So if you've held him this whole time, well done to you. He's done exactly what you need him to, and expect a little bit more volatility with Cook this year, I think, than previous years, just because they have so many weapons in this side. But it's good to see that in the games where they're playing those lesser teams, that he's actually scoring better. I thought he might have a little bit of attacking stats, but his tackles might drop down. But he was up over 30 tackles, I think, at half time. So awesome work for Cookie. And obviously Adam Reynolds did really well also. And when you're the halfback and you kick goals, it's going to be really helpful for your side. And he picked up 85 points, just doing a bit of everything. A little bit more like that Nathan Cleary mold, where he's got a little bit less kick meters, but a couple of turnover tackles, 140 meters, 21 tackles, 7 goals a try. So a bit of everything there. And if you have him in your side, then he's going to start making a little bit of cash now, as he's lost 63 over the first few games. So I don't think that many people hold him, but Jackson Topine comes in off the bench, and Lockie Lewis goes down injured, and this will be interesting to see how he recovers, because he was really groggy after that concussion. So Averillo might come back for all those people that are trading him out like myself. He might end up coming back, but Topine came on and made 46 tackles for 0 misses in his debut, which was amazing work, and comes in at 228k and in the edge position. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him in the coming weeks, but I wouldn't be expecting big minutes from him unless he managed to get that starting spot, but I doubt that would happen. So that's Topine there. Flanagan comes out with 58 and kind of just does okay in a team that was terrible this week. So 56.3 average over his first 4. Nothing to sneeze at, and I suppose it's what you're hoping for with him. I suppose you would be liking Bulldogs to be playing a bit better, but there's not much you can do with that one. At this stage, they've been very bad, but Rabbitohs looked okay in this game. Nothing special, I would say. Which is scary when you beat someone 38-0, but Dogs are just really bad at the moment, unfortunately. Cody Walker picks up another 2 tries and a 56 score with the try assist too, so a little bit annoying. You'd be kind of hoping that in those games where he's getting doubles, that he's getting up around that 70 to 80, which will balance out those scores where he gets to 30 or 40 when he doesn't do as much. So a little bit annoying if you have him, but you'll take his couple of 50-point scores in a row. Josh Mansour comes in and scores really well. Got a try early in the game, and a bit more back to what his usual output would be, with 8 tackle breaks, 140 meters. Usually makes a few more meters than that, but happy with him. But he's still losing some cash, and he'll bottom out pretty shortly with an average of 34, and that's sort of getting closer to where he's priced at currently. So that's with him there. Renu Fatoni got the start in the number 13 jersey and picked up 45 minutes. So solid work for him. And if you have him on your bench, he'll make a little bit of cash for you this week. But don't see that happening any regularly at all, because Josh Jackson and Luke Thompson are coming back in this next week. So well done to him if you were able to play him this week. Totola there gets 50 in his 43 minutes, but not someone that you want to be thinking about too much there. Dylan Napa, decent game. Katoa, a few people asking me about him with getting in. You're not getting an 80-minute role, but I think he probably only got the 80 minutes because of Lockie Lewis went down early, so probably would have been spelled, but 48 in 80 minutes is nothing crazy when he's already priced at 391. And I wouldn't be wanting to bring many Dogs players in at this stage. Hetherington had a much better game after we've told everyone to sell him, but still 57 minutes. He's getting the big minutes and just had a bit of a better game, even with a few crappy penalties there. Jaden Suarez there, Burgess, Arrow, 42 and 41 minutes, so less minutes now, but season average of 52.3. He's still kind of holding what we thought he would get around that. I said around that 50 average I'd expected, but his money making potential that people were hoping for at the start isn't really there. Campbell Graham is someone I've been speaking about a little bit. He's lost 90k and he's definitely a keeper in the centres. So these are the types of guys you want to be looking at. And I was tempted to bring him in. I just wanted to see the bunnies go right a little bit more. And you obviously saw that they're still going very much left. But he had a very nice game, 130 metres, turnover tackle, three breaks, 18 tackles there, and a couple of offloads. So look to him to start to bottom out in his price very soon. He'll lose a little bit more cash this week, but then hopefully, if a couple more games like that, if he starts scoring tries, then he's going to be a keeper come the end of the year. Latrell Mitchell with 42. This comes to the point where there's a few players that you're like, oh, this is a bit not so good. If we look at Latrell's scoring over the first bunch of weeks there, think about how many people brought him in after round 1, yeah, and we're going to have a look at what's going on from there. Picks up 84 in round 1. Awesome. If you started with him, great. You've got his average of 51.5 and you've made some cash and done well. Awesome. If you haven't done that, you've picked him up round 2 and he's got a 37, a 43, and a 42. So that comes out at an average of just over 40, right? If you're paying 590k, you're looking for him to turn into a keeper and average somewhere closer to 50. And unfortunately, you've got an average of 40 right now. So that's the worry with chasing points, for example, is you're picking up a guy that you're expecting to do amazingly well at that first price. Something happened with Brett Morris, for example. Scored 3 tries each of the first couple of games. It's like, oh, he's always going to score that way. It's not how it works. Even with like Latrell, someone who does, he's going to be at that roller coaster. He's going to be up and down, but for him, a little bit more consistent actually, but consistently just under keeper status. So be aware of that. He's going to have the odd game where he gets to 70 or 80, but then a lot of these games are going to be around that 30 to 40, and you might even expect a 25 to 30 with Latrell. His meters gained have improved a lot this year, which is great, and you could probably assume that his base is going to be a little bit higher than what it has been in previous years, but just something to think about when you're chasing points like that if you didn't have him from round 1, but that's an interesting one there. All right, Cam Murray picked up 53 minutes, but did have a head injury, so less minutes than what he would usually play, and that's what you've got to look at with Murray. His PPM's still strong. If he's playing up at around 70 minutes, then he's going to be scoring in the mid-50s and be a good scorer in your team. So try not to rush or panic with Cam Murray at this stage, because it was just an off game with him getting having a decent head injury and going off early for the 27 minutes there before he came back. So try not to stress with him. We'll move on to Adam Elliott, who was a bit of an interesting one. Did get the 80 minutes, just didn't get to do too much as they were getting beat up a bit. And I suppose this is going to happen fairly regularly. Didn't get the attacking stats that he normally has, and much less on the run meter side at 87. So unfortunate for those guys that brought him in. There was a big increase in people buying him. I saw a lot of people were bringing him in at that 677, looking for him to be like a mid-50s keeper. Okay, so he's just under 5% ownership now. So interesting for him, but it's just unfortunate if you brought him in, and he's going to come back and do really well over the next few weeks. So I wouldn't be stressed about that, but yeah, just bad timing. Gagai with 34 this week. Again, it's going to be one of his lower games when he doesn't score any tries. Crazy when they scored 38 and both centers didn't score any, but Mark Nichols, Allen moved to the wing. Probably he's going to get the fullback spot now with Meaney going to be out for a bit. Kolomatangi, yeah, this is my worry with him. Not that he would get 27, but I thought somewhere in the mid-30s would be kind of his lesser games. Still running the ball hard and hitting the line hard, but just not able to, just doesn't have the footwork, I think, to bend the line and to dominate there. So not getting the tackle breaks and offloads that you'd be looking for with him. And when they're dominating, he's not tackling as much. So that was kind of the worry with him, at bringing him in around that 400k mark. After that decent first game, was just like, okay, is he going to be able to score mid-40s on a regular basis? And obviously he hasn't been able to do that. So he's definitely a hold for a couple of weeks, but I'd be watching to see him at 400k with no dual position or anything like that. I don't think he's going to be a great option, unfortunately. Nick Kotrick was someone I was tempted to buy, and he's had 2 low weeks in a row now, and a bit of a tough one for him. He's had, 4 errors and 5 missed tackles this game, but had 2 turnover tackles and still got 24. So tough signs for any of the backs in the Bulldogs team, and that's why I decided to stay clear of him. Yes, he's going to have games where he gets 7, 8, 10 tackle breaks and get you around a 40, but how many tries is he going to score? That's my worry. He needs to score some tries to do really well. The rest of the guys, Hopoate is losing some cash, and yeah, I think anyone in the dog side, just not in the backs especially, isn't going to go very well. So that's it for that team, that game, guys. Let me know what your thoughts on that one was. We'll move to the God team of the day, Ryan Papenhuyzen. Here he is, 124, second highest score ever, only to Nathan Cleary, I believe. So it's just incredible. Had 4 tries at the half, 87 points. Just crazy. How good is little Papi? I think if there's anyone in the league that I want to meet in person, I think it's Pap. What a legend. Anyway, enough fanfare. 4 tries, 5 goals, try assists, couple of line breaks, 10 tackle breaks, 300 meters gained, 3 offloads, a couple of 3 kick defusers and a forced dropout. So just everywhere. And I wouldn't be expecting him to average around the 70. I'm expecting him to be in that top tier with Ponga, Teddy, and I think Pap is now the number 3. So amazing work for him. Currently averaging 84, and if you were missing him and Cleary last week, then it was great to have them back. That's for sure. Money Munster has come in with a 68, so he's got a 62 season average so far, and that's for anyone who brought him in. They were hoping that he would average that with the goal kicking, and he's doing it without the goal kicking, which is awesome. And 62 average puts him up, at about the 800k mark, which is where Tohu Harris is. So if he can keep that up over the next few weeks, he'll quickly make those price gains. He'll be up over 700k this week, but getting up towards 800k. And that 31 tackles and 270 meters is an awesome base when he's a runner of the ball and is going to get tackle breaks and offloads and stuff with the odd try. So how good was his touch though? I don't think I'd be anywhere near that soccer touch, but awesome work from Munster there. Anthony Milford has come out and done pretty well. Had one really low game, but it was cool to see him do well against a strong team. And his kicks he's got a really good torpedo. And kicks the ball really hard, which is really good for them out of trouble, but also in a around 40 meters out and popping it straight up and getting other team to drop the ball, etc. But against Storm, it's going to happen a bit less against Papi, and George Jennings did actually pretty well, taking a lot of those catches. But Milford just in everything, 545 kick meters was awesome. Not missing tackles, got a couple of turnover tackles, 116 meters, just doing everything, which is great. And then we moved to last thing to say with Milford is, if you have him, I think you can actually keep him. He's got some cash to make now. At 49 average puts him up near 700k. So if you can keep that up over the next few weeks, he's gonna have some big price rises. Doesn't have to score 67, but in the mid 40s would be awesome. There are a lot of half options, and I know a lot of people traded him out over the last few weeks. So there you go. Jake Turpin doing exactly what we hoped for. 53.3 average puts him 13 points over his starting average. And if he can keep that up around that 50 mark, he's going to be priced at 700k-ish over the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks if he can average that over that next time. So awesome work for him. 56 tackles, no misses in a team that got absolutely smashed. Well done to you, Terps. One kick out of dummy half and 43 run meters. So awesome work for him. If you got him, keep him in there. Great work on your bench to cover someone like Brayley or McCulloch or Cook or anything like that. Olam comes back and he's actually playing really well and scoring much better than he has in previous years. There was a guy that was spraying me for not telling him to go for Olam, and he comes back with an awesome 59. So I hope you kept him, mate. But just did a bit of everything. 6 tackle breaks, 15 tackles, 170 meters, really good. George Jennings is there. Payne Haas is a welcome back 53. So kind of what we expected, probably more minutes than we would have thought. I was thinking around the 60 minute mark, but I think he's just itching to play, so they throw him out there for a bit longer. But somewhere in the 60s is probably where Payne's going to be. Played the first sort of 50 odd minutes, had a little break, and then came back. So he still looked damaging. He looked like he was bending the line as normal, but only 3 tackle breaks, no offloads. 33 tackles is pretty normal for where he's at. You just expect a little bit more attacking stats for him for him to be up in that high 60s to 70 where he's average. So he's going to lose a little bit of cash, and I think, as we said, that's someone you can wait on for a little bit until he gets in the 800s and then possibly pick him up there. Christian Welch, what a legend. I decided to keep him as I need to get some cover in the centres, and he served me well. I was worried that he might get around a 40. I didn't think he'd get anywhere near 30 again, but around that 40 mark would be where I was thinking. But picked up 59 minutes, so an extra about 10 minutes there, extra 13 minutes on last week. Allowed him to do well, and he picked up 5 offloads to go along with 180 meters and 26 tackles, which was great. And couldn't expect anything more for him, and I believe that puts him at about a 46 average. So he's still 6 points above his starting price, which you can't really complain about. Glad I kept him over Tino. Obviously, would have been nice to start with a couple other guys, but you can see that it's very normal to be inconsistent. Like someone like Adam Elliott had a bunch of good games and then he has a low one, and that's going to happen with these forwards. And when the game doesn't go their way, they don't get as many run meters, whatever it is. So just be wary of something like that with Welch, and he's probably going to be a hold over the next few weeks. I think, if he can have games where he might get a 40, but then he might get a 50 odd, he's definitely not going to be a keeper unless he can keep this 60-minute average. That's why I think you can definitely hold him over the next few weeks and see what happens. Brandon Smith, when he hear his interview after the game, he's like, "Yeah, I just faked an injury, put it on ice after we were about 20 up." How good is he? But 48 points in 52 minutes was good enough to score fairly well for you. And it looks like Harry Grant might be back shortly, so Brandon Smith's going to be a sell from there. It's cool to see Jordan Ricky play really well, especially in that second half. Like especially with his scoring, he was on about 15 or 16 at the half, and then picked up over 30 points in that second half. So it's good to see his work rate's really strong. 41 tackles for 3 misses. Was running hard and almost got through the line a few times, but he picked up the one tackle bust and one offload. So did as much as you can expect in a losing team, and an average of 47. He made 44k last week, so he'll be expected to make something very similar to that this week. And 46.8 average puts him up in the 600. So he's got another 150, 180k to make at least if he can keep this up. And if he has that big game where he gets 60 or 70 again, then the sky's the limit. So awesome with Ricky. You keep playing him in your side and you'll do well. Jerome Hughes just around that 45. He's still sitting around that 47 average. So someone that hasn't done perfectly and he's losing a little bit of cash for anyone's side, but it's still going to be a hold in a great team. So it's what we've noticed recently. If you're in those better teams, the extra stats just come, the tackle breaks, the tries, the whatever. So really good for him. Dearden got some time this week. Lodge came back with 29 in 49 minutes. So it wasn't exactly what anyone would have been hoping for. And if you held that long, then that's annoying. But Destiny serviceable in a losing side. Only one tackle break, but 3 offloads there, and fairly solid in defence, which is good. 15 tackles, 2 misses, 82 meters. Did what you kind of were hoping for, and he'll make a little bit more cash. But he does have a tough 4 weeks coming up, so it'll be hard press him scoring a try over the next few weeks. But he'll do enough of a job in your centres, for example, if you need him. Pat Carrigan, 44 minutes. What's going on there? Really alarming there. 28, he's going to go down a fair bit of cash. He'll probably bottom out somewhere in the mid-600s, I'd say, but very strange. Still an average of 50, but think an average of 50, if he keeps that up over the next few weeks, that's under 700k. So at this stage, he could probably hold another week or two, but alarming signs that he got 44. I'd be expecting somewhere between 50 to 60 minutes for him, but yeah. David Mead, sort of sticking to that up and down trend, a 33 average. We'll put him around that 400k if he keeps that up, but as I said, they've got a tough bunch of rounds coming up. So if you need him as cover on the bench, keep him. But if not, you don't really need him. Pangai Jr., this was the issue, 31 minutes. So with Lodge coming back and Haas coming back, it looked like Pangai and Carrigan were the guys to lose some of those minutes, which was really annoying. And for those that have brought him in as a keeper, at 754, he's at 57-point scorer. So 26 is a big loss and just didn't do much. 70 run meters, 2 tackle breaks, 17 tackles, just not good enough, unfortunately. And he's going to be a hold for another week and see what happens. But wow, if you brought him in this week, I'm feeling sorry for you. We've also got Crofts come off the bench. Asako just come back down to earth after his big game, but still, 43.5 average is cool. But his price rise will start to slow down now, given he's 473k now. Other than that, Remus Smith 23. 24 average. He's not going to make any cash for you, unfortunately, but you can use him as cover, which is fine. Just leave him there and see what happens there, but wing fullback and centre. So there you go, guys. That's the update for Friday. Little Papi was our king tonight, and I hope you enjoyed those games, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a great Saturday. See ya.